Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Arnold, and today I'm going to be consciously channeling Ascended Master Saint Germain, and he's going to be giving us tips on how to navigate fears and phobias and panic. Many of us are experiencing it on planet Earth right now, and there's a lot of judgment from the ego as these past lifetime phobias come up to the surface through the chakra systems. So no matter which way that you're experiencing phobias or fears or panic, it's coming to the surface whether we like it or not. These fears are being transmuted back to love from our spiritual body's consciousness as they come to the surface. So the past few hundred lifetimes that you might have had, you had the experience, but this lifetime we're all remembering and awakening to remember who we are as consciousness. So as our spiritual body expands, more of those frequencies come to the surface simply because it's time to transmute them. But the reason it feels so uncomfortable is because the ego tells you to judge these frequencies. So as they're coming to the surface, the panic, the ego tells you, well, this isn't a good thing. This is going to harm you. And so it makes it more uncomfortable. If you relax into it, they're telling me to tell everyone to relax into their fears and phobias and not judge them as good, bad, right or wrong. Simply observe them. You can stand outside yourself and look in, or you can go into a meditative state and just allow them to come to the surface. If you're in a panic or fear, that's coming to the surface when you're out in a grocery store or crossing a bridge. I'll use the bridge as an example. So if you're crossing the bridge, a lot of times it could be a past lifetime. Maybe you died on a bridge, but it could also be that you're picking up on other people's fears. So the people that are crossing the bridge, if they have a fear of bridges, then your ego starts to channel in their fears, which increase your own fears, and it kind of snowballs. So if you have a fear of bridges, or if you have a fear of a certain area or a certain place that you go, make sure that you're grounding, pulling your consciousness in. So integrating your spiritual body into your physical body simply by just putting the intention and visualizing it. So just pull it in as a ball of light into the center of your abdomen, expand it out, and then go in with that energy and command that you do not want to feel anybody else's energy or see how anybody else is feeling or pick up on their thoughts. Start commanding what you're allowing in your reality. So I'll use the example of the bridge again. So if you're crossing the bridge and you have a fear of bridges, or fear of car accidents on a bridge, then as those people pass you, before you get to the bridge, say that I don't want to see or feel anybody's thoughts on fears of bridges before I cross over the bridge. So now you're empowered, and you've already decided that you don't want to pick up on anybody else's reality or anybody else's vibration of fear, because it's just going to start channeling in the collective consciousness of the ego consciousness of all those fears on the planet. You just start pulling all those in. So anybody on the planet has a fear of bridges, you just start channeling that all in. It could be 1 million people. You just snowballs and make it bigger and bigger. So commanding what you're allowing, and deciding when you want to see something. So when you command it, it evokes the God within you or the universe within you to create your reality. It's your spiritual body connecting with all of consciousness and stating what you're allowing in that moment. So if I had a fear of bridges, I would say, before I cross this bridge, I command that I don't feel or see anybody's energies or anybody's fears of bridges as I cross. Now, if you're still feeling anxiety coming up after you do that, it could be something of your own, something from childhood or a past lifetime. Just ask to see it. You'll see it in your third eye, like a memory. So if it's a past lifetime, maybe you had a plane crash, and so on a bridge, you're scared of heights. And so you might have a vision of a runway. Or if you had an accident or saw an accident on a bridge when you were 5 years old, you might have that memory. So that's kind of giving you an indication of why you're having this panic. Now, the the panic's not going to hurt you. You're not going to be harmed by it. And if you can relax into it and just allow it, it can transmute. So every time that you cross the bridge, it's going to get easier and easier because your spiritual body transmutes the first layer back to love. And the second time you cross it, it's not as intense, but it's still there. Like the fear might be there still. So then you relax into it, let go, and just observe it. Observe how your body's reacting to this emotion of panic and fear as you cross the bridge. And each time your spiritual body will transmute more and more back to love simply because you're allowing it and you're not resisting it. So when you resist it, it's your ego saying, there's something wrong. I don't want to feel this. And so I'm going to resist it. And when you resist energy, it can't flow. So the energy needs to be transmuted, but it's like our thoughts from our ego are stopping it because our thoughts create our emotion of panic and fear, which creates more panic and fear. And it's just like a snowball effect. So no more fear of your fear, relaxing into it and allowing and seeing what arises, and then keep practicing it. Go over that bridge 3 or 4 times. See how it gets easier and easier as it transmutes. There's also the inner child is also been taught things to fear. So when we're children and we learn from our parents or friends or teachers, as we observe people and their fears, we start to pick up on that we should be afraid of that. So when you're watching a movie even, and there's a fearful something happening in the movie, the subconscious has no reasoning. So it doesn't know whether that's really happening or not. And so it starts to tell the physical body, oh, this fearful event is causing harm. And so the mind just kind of takes off with that and everything starts to panic. So the inner child is the aspect of our spirit. So if you picture our spirit as fractals of energy or fractals of light frequencies, the inner child's an aspect. So it's like a fractal of our spirit that stays young so we can experience joy, awe, wonder, innocence. But the inner child's very young. So your inner child might be 5 years old. So the 5-year-old might be panicking a lot every time you go out in public. The 5-year-old within you might say, well, I don't know if this is safe because what I was taught when I was a child, like going out in public wasn't safe, or whatever you observed as a child. So maybe going out to a grocery store and you get lost in the grocery store and then that caused a panic. So every time you go to the grocery store and you feel anxious, a lot of times it might be the inner child, because the inner child's like, I don't know if this is safe because when you were 5 years old, you get lost in the grocery store. And so it just keeps running the program of panic. So when your inner child doesn't feel safe, that aspect of your spirit kind of steps out because they're saying, if it's not safe to be here, I'm going to try to leave. But the spirit can't go anywhere because you have a soul contract to be in this physical body, in this physical form, in this lifetime, in this timeline. So what happens is it like hits the edge of your auric field, and while it's hitting it, it's like an alarm system saying your spirit, an aspect of your spirit's trying to leave your body, but it's not going anywhere. So it just creates this like panic, fear alarm system. And then it's like everybody's in their head, like, oh, I have all this fear and I'm not sure why. If you pull your inner child back into your body and say it's safe to be in a human body, it's safe to be on planet Earth, you don't have to fear being in the grocery store, we're not going to get lost. Move your inner child up to the timeline of 2022. So any fears from the past of getting lost in the grocery store do not exist in 2022. And tell and reassure your inner child, you can just do it in a visualization. You can just visualize yourself as a child. If you can't visualize yourself as a child, you can look at a photo or, any kind of memory and just tell your inner child that it's safe to be in a human body and you're not going to be, hurt or harmed or lost at the grocery store. And then you'll feel a lot calmer. So before you go into the grocery store, if you have, anxiety, this is for people who have anxiety in a grocery store or anywhere else, a lot of people with social anxiety. So before you even go in, if you ground and pull your consciousness fully integrated into your human body and expand out, you're walking in with your full essence. So you don't need a bubble of protection. So a bubble of protection is fear-based. It's saying that I'm afraid of somebody's energy hurting me. So instead, pull in, expand it out, and command that you don't want to feel anybody's energy in the grocery store, and that you don't want to see how anybody's feeling in the grocery store, but not needing this bubble of protection because you are all energy. So what do you have to be afraid of if you are everything? And then before you go in the grocery store, put your inner child in a safe place. Tell your inner child, the 5-year-old that's scared of going to the grocery store, tell her or him that they can stay in a safe place inside your physical heart so that they don't have to go through this adult responsibilities and have to put all this pressure on them to shop and to find the food and then have a fear of being lost. And like, there's so many pressures that you're putting on that aspect of your spirit that's like so young and innocent and vulnerable. If she or he stays in a safe place in your heart, then they don't have to be involved in the adult responsibilities or the adult activities. All the stress of being overwhelmed with so many people at work or in a grocery store. A lot of the times people feel panic at work. It's the whole time. The 5-year-old's like, you're sitting here talking to all these people that are attacking me or disrespecting me, and I'm scared. And then they get this constant anxiety. So putting your inner child in a safe place, you can visualize, inside the center of the physical heart, creating a safe place like in nature, that your inner child will stay in, that nobody can hurt your inner child in that safe place. That will decrease many, many people's anxiety like tenfold. Like, it will make you feel calm. And then you go into the grocery store, the inner child, you're not dragging this 5-year-old who's terrified to get lost. You're not dragging them in there. And it's not just getting lost. Like, there was probably, hundreds of different experiences inside a grocery store or at a workplace or at school when you were growing up that the inner child felt scared, or that you felt scared at some point in your reality, in your timeline as a child or a teenager. And it just, the subconscious just replays the old program. Well, when you were a child, this happened. So we're just going to remind you of that. And this panic and fear starts. So those are 2 different ways that you can work with your consciousness, your physical body, mental body, emotional body, spiritual body, to calm all the anxiety and the panic and the fears. Put your inner child in a safe place. Don't drag them into any adult experiences. And if there's a past life, just ask to see it and not be afraid of it. Let it show up. It's going to come in as a memory. We're multidimensional. And as you go into different timelines and different realities, they're all in a 3rd dimension. Your past lifetimes or memories from a childhood. When you have a memory, you're actually astral traveling to that memory. It's like we can go in and out of timelines, but in and out of past lifetimes as well. And as people awaken, this is happening naturally. So a lot of people are tapping into the past lifetimes and not even recognizing it as a past lifetime, but they might have an experience that feels odd or out of place, or they might be, inside a gym or something, and there's a whole bunch of people in the gym and they're on the treadmill, and then all of a sudden they have this memory of a book they read when they were a child about an athlete that got injured or something. And then you're like, oh, that's odd. Why did I have that memory when I was on the treadmill? But then you start to feel panic with it. And you're like, what's going on there? And say, oh, well, maybe I had a past lifetime that I was an athlete and got injured. So it's just these subtle frequencies and subtle memories and thoughts and emotions. If you tune in a little bit, you're going to start to see that the universe is showing you more and more that's coming to the surface that you're not aware of. And if you're feeling anxiety with it, relax into it. allow it. Don't resist it. Resist nothing and allow everything, and it will get calmer. It will get feeling more comfortable as you transmute it, and have fun with it. Like, sometimes if you have vivid memories of a past lifetime, it can be really a lot of fun to transmute that back to love. So you just visualize your consciousness as a ball of light expanding out and just surrounding that anxiety, panic, or fear with your consciousness. And as soon as you surround it, it transmutes back to love instantly, because these fear-based emotions that are coming to the surface are love, but they have forgotten. So as anxiety and panic arise, ask it what it needs. Ask it to show up in human form in your visualization so you can see it better. Is it showing up as, a little boy crying, or is it showing up as maybe an animal that's been injured? Like, in your visualizations, you can have different visuals of what certain emotions would look like. And sometimes if you get a visualization, it's easier to transmute because you have something to work with. Or you could put, you could have a stuffed animal or something, and you say, okay, well, I'm just going to pretend this stuffed animal is the emotion that's coming to the surface, and I'm just going to talk to it. What does it need? Does it need warmth? Does it need food? Does it need to be petted? Does it need love? Can I surround my consciousness with all these emotions that are coming to the surface? And then they instantly transmute back to love. And then you're free of that panic. But it's not going to stop, because everyone's awakening. The Kundalini is rising within everyone on planet Earth that is awakening at this time. Those who have chosen to awaken, it's coming to the surface, whether we like it or not. But this is the first lifetime that you're remembering that you have the power to change it. So the other lifetimes the emotions come to the surface, but you didn't know that you are everything. We're all awakening to remember we are all energy. So if you are all energy, then you have the power to change it. So that's all I'm going to say today about those panic, fear, and phobia. And I want to say thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a great night.